missing someone. Love with all your heart. Missing someone. Love with heart.
What's up, guys? Welcome back to my channel. So this week I am going to be showing you guys a color correction. So this is a client that's been with me for a few years. We've done a bunch of different colors on her. The last colors that we've been doing was like a permanent red. You can see there's like slight banding in some of her red because she kind of waited a little too long in between some appointments. So you know how that goes when the roots are too long and you're lifting the hair with permanent colors. Sometimes there can be banding, but so we're working with that. And then on the very ends of her hair, she has underneath like an old balayage. So her goal today is to pretty much get her as light as possible to like a strawberry blonde if possible. So I'm prepping her hair with the K18 mister. This is like a pre-treatment to lightening to help save the hair and keep it healthy. So I'm spraying it in sections pretty generously, and then you let it sit for about 4 minutes before doing any other chemical service. So I make sure that I'm saturating all over. She has like a ton of hair. And then now we're going to be going in with a color remover. So I am using a Schwarzkopf color remover that you mix with developer. This specific color remover comes in like a white box. I've used it in a few of my other videos before, but it has like 2 parts in the box. There's like a part A, part B, and then you mix the third part with developer of your choice. I believe we did 10 volume for her to do her first application. And what this color remover is going to do is pretty much lift out any tone that's in her hair and really reveal the underlying level and the underlying tones in her hair. So it's going to get rid of a lot of this red and maybe even lift her hair just a little bit too in the process of everything. So I started in the back and I left out the hairline. You can see a little bit closer here. I leave out the hairline and I'm placing the color remover only in the areas that have previous red on it because I'm trying to just lift out a lot of that permanent color. I chose to do a color remover because I feel like it's going to be a lot more gentle on the hair and it's going to expose where it's a little bit lighter in the hair. So like I said, she has some previous highlights on the very end from a balayage that we did like a while ago before she decided to go full on red. So this is going to help expose to me where it's a little bit lighter. And of course I didn't put the color remover on her virgin hair because it doesn't need it. It's really only going to focus on the parts that we did permanent color. And I did apply the areas of the hairline at the very end only because those hairs are a lot finer, so I want to make sure that it sits on those parts the least amount of time. So here's just like a clip of what the color remover looks like as it's processing. You can see it's working extremely fast and her hair is lifting out. A lot of that red is definitely coming out and is going to make it a lot easier when we go in with actual bleach. So at this point, I am rinsing out the color remover because I believe the color remover, it's like processed up to like 25 minutes or so. And then I feel like it definitely kind of stops working. So we are rinsing that out and her hair still felt really good. So we are going to be going in with another round of color remover just at the bowl and then take her back to get her ready for bleaching. So we blow dried her hair and I didn't get that part on camera, but we did do a second round of color remover at the bowl and then blow dried her hair, and now we are going in with bleach to lighten everything. So you can see compared to her before, the color remover doing 2 rounds of it definitely got her hair super light. And so now I'm just going in with bleach and I am using Blonde Me Schwarzkopf bleach. I do a bowl of just 6 volume because we just need something that is going to slowly lighten it. And I did start in the back just like how I applied the color remover and then sectioning out that hairline because I'm going to apply the lightener to those areas last because again, and those hairs are a little bit more fragile, so you want the lightener to be sitting on those parts the least amount of time. So I'm going in, taking very thin slices, combing through and laying it right on top of each other. I feel like this is going to save a lot of time opposed to doing like foils in between, like kind of like a platinum card. This is similar, but this kind of just gets everything light. And then another thing that I want to note is that as I'm applying here, some areas are a little bit darker and warmer than other areas, so I am saturating heavily in the areas that are darker opposed to the areas that are a little bit lighter. So in the areas like that seem a little bit more blonder or a level lighter, I go a little bit lighter handed with the lightener in those areas, and then a little heavier handed in the areas that seem a little bit more darker and like a darker level to me. So as I'm going through the head, I did start off with 6 volume, but by now I have bumped it up to 6 volume with 20 volume, and that's all I'm going to be using for the rest of the head. Later, I will be hitting the root and using a higher volume, but because the mids and ends are pretty much like a level 7, 6 in some areas, I don't need something that is too strong, and so I'm just going in with something with 6 volume and then just a little bit of 20 volume to help catch it up since I started in the back. Now, when doing this application, the key part of getting everything even is applying the lightener on very quickly. So that's why I opted to do this type of application. So after I've covered the areas that have been lightened with bleach, now I'm going in to lighten the root area, and I'm trying to carefully section out those areas and apply lightener to the scalp. And for the lightener on the scalp, I am going to be using a cream bleach because I just find that cream bleaches are a little bit more gentle on the scalp. So I'm going in with cream bleach and 20 volume. And cream bleach, I feel like, works a little bit slower as far as lifting than the regular blue bleach powder, the Blonde Me one that I'm using on the mids and ends. So I apply it right after I finish applying on the mids and ends so that the roots can now catch up to the ends. And doing it this way, I feel like since we're applying bleach on virgin hair, it's going to give it enough time to catch up to the mids ends because of the body heat and because it's a lot easier to bleach hair that is virgin compared to hair that has been pre-colored. And if your client doesn't lighten this quickly as mine did, a good indication for me whenever I'm doing like a global lightening like this is I know when to start applying the lightener to the roots when the hair has kind of reached like a level 8, I would say, because that gives it enough time to start lifting to the same level, especially if the hair is like about a level 4 and below. So now I'm just going in and kind of squeegeeing off any excess product and kind of checking the health of her hair, the elasticity, and how even the application is. Because this is a color correction, of course, I am trying to get it as even as possible since we're kind of going for more of a solid look. So anywhere that needs extra lightener, after I do this part, I do go back in and kind of lighten those areas and then let it sit and then rinse everything off, and now she's going to be ready to tone. So now that we're going in with the toner, I am using a liquid demi-line for her shadow root, and I'm using a level 6 gold because we're going for a warm tone already. She showed me a picture that was kind of like strawberry blonde-ish, but like a really light coppery strawberry blonde. So I'm going in with a warm shadow root to kind of deepen that part. I always like to do a shadow root even though we did like a global bleach and everything is solid, especially because her natural is like a level 3. When this grows out, I kind of want everything to kind of like blend somewhat seamlessly, so I suggested that it might be best for her to do a shadow root. So we're going in with that shadow root, and then afterwards I am going to be applying the Pulp-Right Rapid Toners to kind of create a nice coppery strawberry blonde look for her. So for her lighter toner, after I applied the root shade, I'm going to go in and apply the lighter toner on the mids and then the ends and then the hairline. So for this, I used the Pull Bright Rabbit toners. I believe I did a mixture of pale pink with some moonstone and rose gold to create this like rose goldy pink strawberry blonde color. And even though she's not a perfect level 10 or anything like that, the warmth in her hair is actually going to help a lot with the goal of what she was going for anyways. So I wasn't too worried about the warmth that is still in her hair, considering how red she was before. Alrighty guys, so here is the finished look. You can see everything looks pretty much even though considering how red she was, how much regrowth she had, and the old highlights that were underneath that red, I was actually really surprised at how light she got. I totally did not think she would get this light after just one session. I thought she was definitely going to be more copper, which she would have been fine with because we were going for a warm tone anyways, but she absolutely loved this color and I was really happy with the end result. I believe doing the color remover made a huge difference. I don't think she would have been able to get this light and remain this healthy if we didn't do the color remover. So I highly recommend doing a color remover if you're doing any type of correction like this, because I really do feel like it saved her hair. And then also using the K18 system, I feel like definitely saved her hair as well. Alrighty guys, that is it for this week's episode. Thank you guys so much for watching and tuning in. And as always, I will talk to you guys next week.